Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to Your Connection. It is August of 2020. I think our last one was probably, in June or July? So it's been a while. Your Connection with your paranormal stories, paranormal study updates, evidence discussion, paranormal event updates, team announcements, and paranormal news. However, this one's going to be a little bit different this time. And we'll explain that one in a bit. By the way, it's the 23rd since I decided to skip the date. So we're going to go over many different projects this time. I decided, rather than just focusing on just the UNI research projects, which we did a lot of introduction to on the last ones that we've been doing, we wanted to do a ParaUnity segment. So these are projects not just from UNI research, they're also joint projects that we may be working with other teams on, in addition to other projects that other people are doing. And let me tell you, there are some great projects out there. So we've got a paranormal book that's coming out, which we're going to talk about in a bit. We have 13th Dimension podcast, Booze and Booze, documentary by the Dead Republic Paranormal, Wildwood Sanitarium, Raise the Roof Project, Paranormal Relief Project, which you've heard about in past Your Connection, but it has advanced substantially since we last spoke about it, and the future of ParaUnity projects with the Your Connection broadcasts. As always, though, if you haven't already, please join us on Paranormal Puzzle, our Facebook page. There's our web address right there, or you can also just type it in the search engine for Facebook. Keep in mind, though, we have changed the name a bit. It is now Paranormal Puzzle by UNI Research, so it's going to be a much longer name because we are going to be shutting down the main UNI Research page and basically combining it all into one. And of course, don't forget to visit our main website at www.uniresearch.com. Again, www.uniresearch.com. And with that, I would like to introduce everyone that's with us. We've got Robin Ramsey, again, not related to Gordon Ramsay, but you would never guess. We have Katie Peak with us, and on top of that, a very special guest with us, Tory Smith from Paranormal Help Desk. So, welcome.
Thank you.
Perfect opportunity because I know you help a lot of people out. You also deal with a lot of different teams. And of course, it's funny because with the notifications, you're a part of so many different paranormal pages. And I know once I start seeing like the Facebook notifications, 1, 2, 3, 4, and it just starts, and I'm like, that's Tory, right? Yep, there it is. So yeah, before we go into all these announcements and stuff, why don't you give us an idea, like what is the Paranormal Help Desk? What do you do exactly, and what got you into this?
Well, the Paranormal Help Desk I've had for roughly about 8 to 10 years. I don't know when the exact date that I started that. What I do is I find teams to investigate the homes of people experiencing hauntings. Basically, people reach out to me, and then I find a team in their area that's willing to take their case. I do this worldwide and free of charge. I've had cases, UK, Australia, United States, New Zealand I've had, Ireland I've had. Basically, a lot of these cases, and I've actually recently had an alien case, which was new to me. I've never had that before. So, but yeah, I do it worldwide, free of charge. They contact me, they tell me their story. I utilize a lot of online resources. I have teams that, like, I keep in the back of my head that I've reached out to you before. But I come across a lot of different teams. I use a lot of different online research. Like, it's all research based online. I use databases. Scar Encounters has a really good database that I utilize from time to time. So that's kind of the Paranormal Help Desk. And in the meantime, when I don't have cases, I like to share everything paranormal, events, YouTubes, Patreon pages, podcasts, all kinds of stuff, really. Yeah, so that's kind of what I do in a nutshell. That wasn't really that long lived, was it?
No, but I'm just curious because like even when you see your banner on your site, like you literally see like a help desk, and I just found
Yeah,
it interesting because I know there's people that will create networks and stuff like that, but I've never heard of like a help desk like your hey, I need help, and it's like okay, yeah, let me connect you.
yeah, yeah.
That is
It's
so
awesome.
interesting. It's awesome. It's a great idea.
Actually, I grew up in a haunted house when I was a kid. I was the only one that experienced activity in that home. I did not, nobody else had any complaints. If they did, they never said anything. That is where I saw my first shadow figure. Um, that thing was scary. I'm telling you. Like, I remember as a 9-year-old, 10-year-old, sitting outside alone in the dark, feeling safer outside than I did in my own home. Um, there was a lot of smells. There was a lot, things would call my name when nobody else was there. Um, the shadow figure that I saw in the home, it was black. Like you couldn't see through it. It was just black. And it looked like somebody took a cookie cutter in the shape of a human being and just stamped it out of the landscape. And it was standing there, you know, like when guys kind of get, when they get mad or whatever, and they kind of puff up and they stand there like in an aggressive posture. That's how it was standing. And it just stood there. At first I thought I was seeing things because I was kind of walking by and I looked over and I saw it, and like my brain didn't register what I had saw. And then when I turned back around, it was gone. Like that's the only time that I ever saw that shadow figure. In that same house, I moved out of there when I was a teenager. In that same house, and I don't know if it's related or not, but the people that bought that house, the woman that lived there, she was like late 30s, early 40s. She died of a rare form of cancer. So I don't know if any of that is related, but it was pretty rare cancer from what I hear. So
And I have to say, like I'm very familiar with the shadow figure part. That's not the first entity I came across because mine was actually angelic. And then after that, it went dark. So it was like, oh,
it
yeah.
didn't last.
I saw a shadow figure once. I was at a lake in Waco, Texas, and it was so large. There was a driveway between the cabin and the tree, and it filled the space. But when you said it was like a cookie cutter, for me, yeah, I always describe it as a cardboard cutout. I was like, it was
Yes.
this thing, and it was so dense and so dark, and it just filled the space, and it was just so ominous. But the cardboard cutout, cookie cutter thing got me.
Yeah, you're the only one I've actually heard tell me that they've seen something similar. People say that, or in the years that I've been doing this, most people say that it's not typically that dark, or like, are you sure that's what you saw? You know what I mean?
I do, yep. I even painted it. It struck me so well. I tried my best. I'm not like an official artist or anything, but tried to paint it just so I could freeze it in my mind. And it was a very cardboard cutout.
Yeah, it was terrifying, to say the least.
I didn't even see a shadow figure at first for mine. The shadow figure came after. There was, I mean, for those who hadn't seen it, and this is the part that I can't believe they left out so much of it. But I understand it was only a 10-minute segment. Was the paranormal survivor part where I'm talking about the hunter,
Mm-hmm.
and they never brought up about the shadow figure portion of it because I never he became the hunter when my brother saw him in a hunter outfit with glowing red eyes. That was like the time we were like, oh, you know what, the hunter, and that was my brother who came up with that one. Before my brother was even born, I used to keep my bedroom door slightly open, and it was pitch black, and all I remember was waking up and just hearing breathing at my bedroom door. You just and it was just like, you know, okay, this is weird. And then eventually, like, I don't remember what time period it was in after that point, but there was a point where I heard my door just creak a bit, and that's when I heard the breathing again, and I looked up and I literally saw you know, you see pitch black, and then you see even more pitch black. It's like something darker than dark. I'm like, okay. And
Oh, man.
the worst part is when it happened with my brother, where he had at the back of his bedroom was down the hallway. He had a sliding wooden door. So there was one point where I heard footsteps, and I got up out of bed, open up my door, and before I even stepped out, I heard his door just creaking, just like it was slowly opening. And then when I walked around the corner, I'm thinking, oh, it might be either him or my parents or something like that. But, you know, I was a kid, and I was just like, you know what? He doesn't walk yet. He's young.
Right.
Wow.
And then I saw a shadow figure just walking right into his room, and I'm like, oh my goodness.
That's creepy. That's creepy.
I get it.
Yeah, it was. And I remember, like, people would come, like, I would have friends stay the night. Nobody ever really said anything. Like, over time, people started talking about how creepy it was at my house and things like that, mainly my friends. But I think it was really kind of feeding off of the whole Tory said this happened. So, you know, it was kind of embellished or sensationalized in a way. But if you fast forward to probably about 8 to 10 years ago, when the help desk started, I remember I was watching the Dead Files with Amy Allen, and they were talking about, she was doing her walkthroughs, and she was like, this is what's here, you need a shaman or a medicine man or whatever, you know, her recommendations were. And I was thinking to myself, I'm like, how do you even find something like that? Like, how would one go about finding a shaman? Like, that's not something that that you really have. Like, a normal everyday person would never know where to look. Hell, even I don't know where to look most of the time. But that's actually where the Paranormal Help Desk was born. That whole concept of, you know, people needing all these resources and tools and not knowing where to start and where to find them. So that's kind of where it started, like the whole idea started. And then, you know, it spun off into mainly finding teams. And I also work as a resource for paranormal teams if they're in a situation that they need a specialized, a specialty of some sort, Reiki master, shaman, medium, whatever the case may be. So that's kind of how the help desk came about.
That's awesome. And I mean, you really have done a lot. And I mean, I remember just the first message I got from you, and because I mean, I have my security settings up high, and it showed up as like a spam message, and it's just like I saw the word paranormal in there. I'm like, okay, what is this? And Paranormal Relief Project, I'm like, wait a second, isn't that the Wildwood thing? Because I didn't know there was like some huge thing going on. It was just, I thought Wildwood Sanitarium was like, oh, we're going to do this thing on May 1st. Mm-hmm. And didn't realize that this was some huge project. So, but yeah, speaking of which, we do have some other great things that we want to talk about. Which Tory, I know you're definitely involved in. So just a few things real quick though. Some of the other paranormal teams out there, paranormal investigators, have some other things going on. We have a book that's releasing next month, Haunted Bay City, Michigan, by Nicole from Tri-City Ghost Hunters. And she has accomplished so much over the years. We've talked back and forth, very good friend. And she's super cool. And this was something that I know she took so much pride in. And on top of that, even before it's launched, it managed to get #1 on one of the lists.
Wow.
People are definitely very interested in it. So Nicole, congratulations. I really look forward to the launch. It's going to be fantastic, and I can't wait to see all the great things that all the stories that you've written in the book. I know she takes a lot of pride in history of the locations and such like that, so this is going to be absolutely amazing. Her first book, and I know she spent so much time, put so much heart into this. So this is going to be absolutely amazing. So again, congratulations. We're wishing you all the best success with this. And, you know, another several books would be nice too from you. Additionally, a new podcast is going to be launching very soon from Things. Our good friend Jeremy York has announced a podcast called The 13th Dimension. And we're going to have him on actually very soon to talk about the whistle experiment he suggested to us. And let me tell you something. It may seem like a very simple experiment. It may seem silly to some, but to be quite honest, after actually the people who did the whistle experiment with me are sitting here, Katie and Robin. We did it at Wildwood Sanitarium, and holy crap.
A lot.
There are trends that typically happen at Wildwood Sanitarium as well as other locations. We did the whistle experiment, and there were so many trends that just, they broke. They broke. And we don't even know how to explain it. Oh, here you go. Tory is involved in this, as well as one of our other good friends, Mike from Dead Republic Paranormal, and I know there's 3 others. It's like, isn't like it's like 5 different teams from?
Yes.
Is it like 5 states?
Yes, we all live in different places. Actually, my catcher is the one that approached me about this project. He had an idea for a podcast, and he asked me if I was interested, and I took the opportunity. Before just recently, really, I've kind of stayed behind the scenes. A lot of people did not know that Tory Smith and the Paranormal Help Desk were the same thing. Nobody knew that I was behind that whole thing. I just kind of remained behind the scenes, and that's kind of where I liked to stay for the most part. I've recently just been branching out, doing interviews and that kind of thing. But Mike had approached me. Mike also works on my board of advisors for the Paranormal Relief Project. Same with Matt Warner. From Warner Paranormal, who is also on Booze and Booze. And then Kenna Hunter, she is from Wandering Further. And then Steve, he does a lot with the homestead. He's been doing a lot of projects. We just recently did a fundraiser for the homestead on Booze and Booze to raise some money to get some things done for that location so that we can open it up to the public, and hopefully we can get them part of the relief project, but we'll see. But yeah, Mike approached me, and basically we all just kind of hang out for an hour. We always say an hour, but it's never an hour. It's always longer. And we just talk and have a good time. It really is a lot of fun, but this was totally Mike's baby. I think he had a fantastic idea, and it's pretty awesome. I have a lot of fun with it for sure.
Yeah, and Mike, seeing all the different projects that he works on, he truly does take a lot of pride in everything that he does. And there's definitely projects that we're going to be a part of with him that we're really excited about. But watching the show and seeing these, seeing 5 different people come together, and it's absolutely fun to watch all the laughs, the great jokes. It's like you guys have different personalities, but you guys mesh together so well. Yeah, we do. We fit together very, very well. We get along very well. I mean, even off screen, we're constantly cutting up to each other. I'm sure you've probably seen some of Matt's posts with the peanut butter challenge that I've tagged him. We cut up a lot, and they make it a lot of fun. They make doing like paranormal things a lot of fun. And one of the best things about all of those guys is that when you need help, they are the first ones to volunteer. They're the first ones to volunteer. Or if you have a question, if I have a case and I'm like, do you guys know anybody in this area? And, they're like, well, let me reach out to they're very proactive, and we are all involved in helping each other all the time. So
it's pretty cool to have that kind of relationship with people I've never met before. So yeah.
And you guys also recently did you handed out a award to somebody. What was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a giveaway. That actually was not planned at all.
Oh wow.
That was not planned. It happened. And that's what like, we meshed together so well. Matt had said, oh, well, I'll give you a ticket to the event that he just announced. He's doing, I think it's October 24th, if I'm not mistaken. But he said he was doing this event, and Tim shares everything paranormal. He helps us out a lot just by promoting and that kind of thing. But Matt was like, I'll give you a ticket to this event. And then the rest of it just kind of, we all were like supportive of that. And then we're like, okay, well, let's raise money to get you there. And like, that was not planned at all. That was an impromptu thing.
Yeah, I kind of missed that part because there was only one part. There was a part of the when I was watching the show. I didn't get into the first part of that show. I so happened to show up as you guys were telling Tim about that he would be going to Wilson Castle and stuff like that, and just seeing his response, and he was just like it got me in the background to start tearing up, like wow.
Yeah, it was a pretty special moment, and it was completely 100% impromptu. Nobody even knew that was going to happen. It just did. So. Yeah,
no, it definitely, and for those who have never heard of this show, please go and check it out. It's definitely, it's growing. The show is growing, and Mike keeps up several announcements, but I'll let the show do the talking on that one. I'm also, Mike, if you watch this, we're looking to have you on this. No ifs, ands, or buts. You have no choice. It's a free trip on this free show. All right, so we've got that going on. I mean, just so much going on. Here we go, Dead Republic Paranormal again. Mike Hatcher, John Ward, Marcus, and we also got Matt Warren as well. For their new documentary here. And so they announced it a little while back, not too far back, Goodwill Haunting at Wilson Castle, which is, I mean, plain and simple, it's an incredible location from what I'm hearing. Just seeing the pictures and some of the videos I've already seen, and I know that they've been taking a lot of pride in trying to save this location. So, and I know you guys have been going nuts on the research portion of it already.
That's putting it mildly. Yes, definitely going down the rabbit hole on this one.
And Mike also invited us on a project. So we're actually going to Wilson Castle twice next month. One of them being 2 days, where we're going to spend 2 days there with Matt and several others. And then we already had scheduled prior to that our own private research on September 26th. But I haven't gotten a chance to talk to Denise and I think the other one's Andy, if I'm not mistaken. Hopefully I got that name. Hopefully I got that name right. There were 3 names that were brought up to me. The one I had been talking to was Linda. Linda's a real sweetheart. And I hear Denise is
Denise, the owner's owner, Denise Devine.
I hear they're all phenomenal there, and I really look forward to seeing them. I just didn't expect that. There's a potential we're going to see them the first time we go up there, which I wasn't anticipating until the end of September that we were going to see them. But there was one thing that I made a promise to them, and it's great to be working alongside other teams to help with this, is I know this is another restoration project. It's a huge project. We're going to make sure that they don't lose this castle. There's a lot of history and legacy behind this, a lot of even unwritten history. And it's just to hear how much pride the owners have in this. We've got to save this place. It looks phenomenal. On top of that, it's going to be our first castle. First castle. I've always wanted to go to a castle. And I thought it was going to be like, yeah, I'm going to go to Dracula's castle. That's always what I kept on saying. I saw Scariest Places on Earth. God bless that show. I miss it. But I was like, Scariest Places on Earth, Dracula's castle. Yeah, that's going to be my first castle. And not realizing there's a castle that's like under 2 hours away from us.
Right?
Wow,
And
that's short. I didn't realize that was close.
Yeah.
Super close. I mean, I was thinking this was going to be much further. It's going to be like a Wildwood Sanitarium trip where we're traveling 5.5, 6 hours. But this one is just like, oh, shortest, 1 hour, 50 minutes.
Nice.
Okay, I guess we can go here several times. And then I'm thinking castle. Oh my goodness, the money that is going to cost to get into that one. Nope.
Relatively inexpensive compared.
I
I
remember.
absolutely love fundraisers for historic locations. A lot of people don't understand the amount of money it takes for upkeep and trying to get these buildings in a condition that, you know, that they're going to last longer. Like I remember Wildwood's GoFundMe. I think they had a GoFundMe, I think, that I shared a lot of, and like the damage to the roof, and they needed a new roof. And I always share these things, and I just wish people understood how much money it costs to restore these things, and like your overnight fees, and some of that goes to, you know, preserving the location or whatever. But if there's one thing that I could say is if everybody that sees a fundraiser could donate $1, if there is 3,000 of us that donate $1, that is $3,000 that they can use to do their roof or fix the rotting wood in the wall or to get rid of the termites, or you know what I mean? Because that stuff is very expensive. But anyway, I went off on a tangent.
No, it's definitely that was like an important good tangent, because we've been there. This is actually, I think, our this next event I think is going to be our 13th time at boy, that's a bad luck number. 13th
Great number.
The 13th time going to Wildwood Sanitarium for another event. We have one in September, which I'll talk about in a bit, but I've started to see the improvements. I've started to see where the funding's going.
Yeah.
And I think I was really concerned this year that there was a good chance that if a bad winter storm hit, we were going to lose Wildwood Sanitarium as a great research and historical place. And we were worried for Lori and Brooke, the owners for the place. They take so much pride in it, and they are such the sweetest people, seriously.
100%.
But I think does that lead into, oh, well, that leads into my next.
There you go.
Nice.
Tory, help us roll right into this one. So as we may mention, we were doing public ghost hunts at Wildwood Sanitarium, and we've been doing, we've already done one in July and August. Our September event is sold out. Now, the good news that I'm proud to announce, and this is excluding the September event, just the two events and donations from UNI Research alone, we've managed to raise $1,565.
Nice.
Now, keep in mind, this does not include the numbers coming from the September event. And on top of that, we've announced two more events, one in October and one in November. November has a special guest with us, Mike Hatcher, who will be joining us for a co-op event. We're preparing for those. It's going to be different. As I made mention in the Paranormal Puzzle page, these three events, after the September one, it's going to be the last of this specific type of layout for these events for this year. The next two, they're going to be something special. We're working out some really special things. So if you loved these events, prepare for the next two.
Come back, it'll be different, and it'll be amazing.
Very, very different. There will be some features we are keeping, but on top of that, they also managed to raise more money with the help of Dan from the Hinsdale House. They raised even more money during, I think it was August 1st, that they did a Raise the Roof event. So they raised more there. There's been teams who have come and spent the night, so there's funding there. They had the GoFundMe page, which they raised a good amount there, I think just under 2,000 there. On top of that, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Booze and Booze, wasn't there, I think that was the peanut butter challenge, wasn't it? There was something that if you guys, or no, wait, no, that was for something else. Never mind.
That was, oh, who was that for? That was for Homestead.
That was Homestead.
Saratoga Homestead?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Yep.
I have to say, you managed to pick, like, of all the places that we were actually, I think it was, we were looking at potentially purchasing that place and going, restoration. There, so many of our team members are like, have you checked this place out? I can't count. Probably every team member had sent me that, sent me that link and the story about it. And I'm just, it's like almost every couple months, Saratoga, tagged in a post, Saratoga. I'm like, yes, we can't go there. We can't go there.
It's so close though, so I'm really excited about everything that's going on with it. I can't wait to walk.
Yeah.
I know. I'm hoping that we, like, if we can get enough money pushed in the door, that it will be open to the public by, I don't know what their timeline is, but it would be nice to, if they could start doing like overnights. I know they do photo tours. Is that what it's called? Something like that, like photo tours where you can take pictures of it.
From us. I mean, it's our backyard, so we're very excited and appreciative of everything that you're doing and that everything.
Oh, thank you.
And the best part about that is I honestly at first thought you were like, is this a prank?
Yeah.
Like she's in another state and she's sending me a fundraiser about Saratoga. I'm like,
yeah.
Like, really?
Where's
like, yeah, and I was so excited when I saw that because it's definitely a place I wanted to check out. But I've heard some things about prior owners that people would sneak on, which of course we never, ever, ever tell anybody to ever do. And they weren't too pleasant if they found you. So thankfully, I can say that it's not our team that was doing any of that. So the fact that they're putting this together to actually get people into this place, because every place we go to, it's hours away. Like, okay, Rolling Hills Asylum, 4 hours away. Wildwood Sanitarium, 5.5 hours away. Hinsdale House, 5.5 hours away. Lizzie Bourne's Bed and Breakfast, about 3 to 4 hours away. Can we just—
Now you got one in your backyard.
Yes.
And the fundraiser that you donated to, the one that the link, that was actually before we did the fundraiser on Booze and Booze. I said Booze and Blues, but on Booze and Booze, that was actually my birthday fundraiser that I had come up with, because I was like, well, I want a fundraiser that, can help, what I'm in. I didn't want a standard thing. So that fundraiser actually closes tomorrow. So I'll send all that money over to Homestead whenever that thing closes. But yeah, there was actually two. The one that I was doing for my birthday, and then Matt did a 24-hour challenge where he's going to do peanut butter all over. I don't know if it's just his head or what he's doing, but he's also doing tattoos. He's getting tattoos of people's names on him. That was some of it. If they donated, like, I want to say $50 or something, that he got their name tattooed on his body. So he's doing that.
That seems worth it.
Yeah. I think he raised like $1,800, something like that, in 24 hours.
Wow.
He seems like a good guy. I mean, especially with like putting that stuff together. And
Yes.
It's funny when he said peanut butter and stuff like that, and I'm allergic, so I'm like, wow, I'm glad I'm not volunteering for that part of the challenge, because I'm like, that's a death sentence for me. But that's I'm so happy, and to hear that between him doing that and all the people who donated, as well as once you sent that fundraiser out, it's like, that's the only way I knew this was happening, was once I saw your fundraiser. So glad to see it.
And Mike, I believe at the next Booze and Booze, he's going to announce another fundraising challenge, and he's going to announce what he's going to do in return for donations. And I don't know the location. If he told me, I don't remember. But so we've been doing where we're going to raise money for different locations, like different. From time to time. So Mike is going to announce a fundraiser next time, I believe.
Yeah, I can't wait, because if you have Matt that's doing this whole peanut butter shaving or whatever thing going on, and then I can't even imagine what Mike's going to come up with. Is like,
The boys are crazy.
like, you know what? Hey, Mike, you're coming to he's co-hosting with the Wildwood event in November. Maybe we're going to have to do a live or something there. Yeah, you know what? We're going to do this live. It's going to be broadcast to several thousand people. No pressure. No pressure.
The boys are crazy. And sometimes I'm like, I wonder what Mike is going to do for his challenge, because I have no doubt he's going to try to trump Matt. Like,
I wouldn't doubt it.
Sure.
So we'll see. We'll see.
I don't know. Matt seems like a gutsy person. So that's going to be a fun one. I mean,
I kind of feel like it's just going to keep escalating. Like Matt's going to be like, okay, I'm going to do the next fundraiser, and this, like, they're going to try to keep one up and
wearing a parachute or something. Who knows?
like, Matt and Mike escalating things.
yeah.
How about
We'll
that?
be me and Kenna's. We're just along for the ride. Kenna and I, we're just kind of hanging out, watching the shenanigans go down. So I'm not shaving anything.
Which actually that leads to a project that you have been really working, like, it seems like 24/7 on.
Yes.
Your paranormal relief project. Why don't you give everybody? I mean, I know we talked about it briefly, but we have the leader here, right here. Go for it. Tell everybody about this.
Well, the Paranormal Relief Project is going to be May 1st of 2021. I've been tossing this idea around for a while now. I am a huge giver. It's kind of in my nature. That's kind of who I am. I love giving to people. I love giving back. I am also an ER nurse. I work in an emergency room as an RN. This pandemic happened. And it's been pretty tough on our frontline people. I mean, it's been tough on everyone, not just our frontline people. I wish I could include more than just frontline people, but I mean, if I did that, then it would be out of control. I mean, you kind of have to put a cap on it somewhere. So this event is for our healthcare workers, nurses, doctors, respiratory therapists, CNAs, CMAs, our front lines, police officers, firefighters, paramedics, EMTs, our mental health workers who have been a huge help. I don't know if anybody is familiar with like healthcare or emergency services, but usually when something crazy happens, they worry about mental health of the workers that were involved in that situation. And they typically have what they call debriefings. And those debriefings are done by mental health professionals. So they are very much involved in our mental well-being to keep us going and mentally safe, I guess, so to speak. So the original idea was that I was just going to pay for a venue out of pocket, one that was close to me, and I was just going to invite different healthcare workers to be a part of this. And I was going to pay for it, and it was just going to be like a one-night event or whatever. It slowly morphed into multiple locations across the United States, and then we're looking at like overseas venues, and it's turned into quite the big project. There's a lot of people involved in this. It's not just me. I have a team of people that are working behind me because I cannot keep track of all of this stuff. But yes, it has turned into, I think we have around 25 locations right now across the United States. It's going to be a free event to the people that I just mentioned a few minutes ago. they get to bring a guest above the age of 18. That way that they're not there by themselves. I admit I went to an event and I didn't go with anybody, and I was just kind of standing there, like, didn't talk to really anybody because I didn't know anybody, and I thought, well, I don't want anybody in that position. So we have we're allowing them to bring a guest above the age of 18. Some venues have rules, some don't, so we just made it across the board 18 and up. So all you have to do is have a valid work ID. Their guests are going to have a driver's license to show photo ID. They have to abide by venue rules. So if there's release forms that need to be signed, they're going to have to sign them and that kind of thing. One of the very cool parts about the Relief Project is you are not limited to the venue that is closest to you. So if you live in New York and you want to go to Illinois, then you can. All you have to do is pay your travel. So some people in the paranormal are, police officers, firefighters, and there may be a venue on there that they've always wanted to go to, and they very much would qualify for this project as long as they have a valid work ID. So so I'm pretty excited about this. You are involved in that project. Your team is involved in that project. I'm super excited.
Wildwood Sanitarium.
Yes.
Of course. Like,
yes.
We're also it's really a home away from home, and it's just amazing that it has morphed into this, and you just kind of dug your heels in and went with it. And thank you for working in the emergency room and doing that all times, especially now. Yeah.
Thank you. And another cool part about the Relief Project is this thing is completely free. All of these venues have donated their venue. I have not paid for a single thing. So that makes this whole thing even much more special and sentimental. Like, my heart is really, really full. Like, it has turned out to be quite the heartwarming thing. All of these people donating their time, all of these teams donating their time, all of the venues that are donating, because I mean, sometimes venues can be quite expensive, and like I said, building upkeep for these venues, they rely on that income to pay the light bill and to fix the 2x4 in the attic that's broken, or whatever that case may be. So, and we are going to live stream this. We are working on live streaming this, and it's going to be a free thing online. So anybody that would like to watch the investigations that are taking place, they will be able to watch it online for free.
Epic.
Nice. Now, for anybody that wants to look up like what locations you currently have announced right now, is there any specific place that they can go to see this information?
Yes, they can go to www.facebook.com/the Paranormal Relief Project. You can also look on the Paranormal Help Desk. I cross post on there all the time. I cross post in your group all the time. Every time I announce a poster, I cross post in your group. There's a lot of places that I post, but 100% for sure, you can go to the Relief Project Facebook page, and all venue announcements will be on there for sure. So I'm 3 posters behind, I'm not going to lie. I need to make those posters. I just have not had a minute to do it just yet. So
it's incredible. I mean, especially myself, who works in a hospital, and I have to throw this out there because I said this to some people that were, and I don't typically announce or say publicly what I do. I mean, people who are close to me, friends, family, they know what my job is, but I don't typically come out in public and say it because of the nature of the work. Right. But this year, I mean, August 6th this year was my, here we go, 13th year at working at the hospital in the bad luck 2020.
Right.
How does that work? Of all the years,
I think they countered each other. It's kind of been our best year
It's
too.
been a great year, actually. I almost feel guilty. Well, it's been so great, and everyone else.
Well, great for paranormal, but for my job, No. And it leads to what even Tory said about, like, that's one thing we were considering that was going to happen. As soon as the governor announced stay-at-home order, we were going, because that's one area that we were looking into in my department, or my division, going, psychologically, this is not gonna go well. Are there any places that are open, like drug rehabs and mental institutions and all this type of stuff? And when we started seeing that a bunch of things were closing or people weren't accepting, and these community groups were closing, and we're like, crime is gonna spike, and then magically, once we started looking at the stats, boom, right through the roof, and we're like, yep. And then on top of that, to go with it, everything else that had gone on during that period unrelated to the pandemic, well, and happening, of course, during the pandemic, it just added to that. And we're just like, oh my goodness, we're not going to get through this pandemic. It's like, we're going to go on for 5 years or something like that. Thankfully, we made it through for New York, we made it through our 4 phases. They're starting to reopen other things too. I think they reopened recently the malls and stuff like that with some restrictions. And I think some of the bowling alleys and such too.
They're coming up. I know the gyms are starting tomorrow.
The gyms. Oh, that's right. Oh, he did announce the gyms. Yeah.
I'm not surprised that I had no idea the gyms are open.
Not with the amount of food you can't see on camera. Yeah.
That went over. But yeah, and it was great to even see these parades that went by with, like, the police and the firefighters and people who wanted to go by, and they were holding out signs going thank you, and it was just, you know, standing outside my office building and just, like, waving with them. But at the same time, it was like, you know, and sometimes I can be emotional, but other times with, like, the nature of my job, it's like, you know, I have that stern aspect, but then deep down, it's just like, rough exterior when I'm there, but actually deep down, it's, I'm just, my heart is super soft. But I saw this and I'm just like, you know, wow, we have to stay it's great seeing the thank yous and all that, but this distance thing, like, they can't get out of their cars, they're going by, and even us at the hospital having to be socially distanced, especially since everybody's filming this, they're filming as they're going by, news channels are there. And it was just like, you know, this is really nice and all, but I can't wait to actually just, like, even with my own team, not even seeing my own team, it was like, I can't wait to give a hug again.
And working, I completely understand. I miss the end of the year, the kids, the hugs, you know, cleaning out the classrooms. I ended up having to do everything and just run stuff to cars and drop it off. So I completely understand that, like, not having that.
As a nurse, I can tell you, like, perspective is everything. And like you said, you kind of have to have a game face. You have this game face on at work. You're doing your thing. How you feel does not matter. How you are feeling in a situation does not matter, because that's not what you're there for. You're there to do a job, and that is to do whatever you can to make sure that your patient has the best possible outcome. That is your job. And I work in a small hospital. Actually, it's not a hospital, it's a standalone ER. So I don't have access to a hospital at all. The only people that are in where I work are 2 nurses, a doctor, and a radiology tech. That's it. That's all we have. We have access, like, our ambulance barn is not too far away, so we have access to paramedics and EMTs and that kind of thing. But, you know, prior to the pandemic, you would have a patient that, I'm trying to censor my words here, a patient that had a bad outcome, that didn't make it. And sometimes, regardless of what you do, there is nothing that you can do that's going to change that outcome. All you can do is all you can do, and that's what it is. And it's unfortunate and it's heartbreaking, especially when you have that with children. Losing children is terrible. And then it gives you that perspective of, I'm going to go home and I'm going to hug my kids because I just saw this mother lose her kid. And it makes you appreciate what you have that much more. Now we're in the middle of a pandemic. a virus that is spread by respiratory droplets. When we have a bad outcome of a child, I can't go home and hug mine because I can't risk exposing my children to the thing that killed somebody else. You know what I mean? So it's a lot to take. And online, you see pictures of doctors camping out in their garages because they don't want to expose their family to that virus, or they don't, you know, we're quarantining ourselves. And I even said if I had exposure, that I would quarantine myself into a hotel room because I didn't want to expose my family. I can tell you right now, my mother and my father would not make it. They are immunocompromised. They would not make it. If they got this virus, they would die from it, probably 100%. So that is where this project comes. We're making sacrifices. Everybody's making sacrifices. It's not just us. You know, our UPS workers, our Amazon people, our gas station attendants, our grocery store clerks, all of these people are making sacrifices, and they are faced with the same things that we are. And like I said, I wish I could include everyone, but that would just be so huge that I would not be able to, I would not be able to keep up. And, you know, there's going to be, there's a limit. So, but I appreciate everybody that's involved in this project. They have made it absolutely amazing and fulfilling and heartwarming. I'm so excited. Tickets, I say tickets, they're free tickets. So there's going to be an online registration required, and those are going to open on Halloween. So
Nice.
So excited.
Perfect time. And yeah, and Tory, thank you so much for putting this together, all the work that you've been doing, and the people that are working alongside with you. Definitely extend our thanks to them. And of course, to all the people who have been going through this pandemic, who started off being basically the essential workers, the nurses, doctors, PCAs, PCTs, EMTs, police officers, and even out to the people who have had to go and do like registers, housekeeping, all these different things.
Facilities people.
Yeah. Thank you for everything that you have done. It was definitely a very terrifying time, but we're getting through it.
Yes.
We're doing a lot better than we have been. Things are, I mean, yes, there's areas that of course need more control, and then there's areas that are being controlled, where the virus is being contained and such. Obviously, it seems like we've got a long way to go, but you know what? Seeing everybody come together and try to help each other out, try to keep everybody healthy, all the extra work, the extra hours that everybody's doing, the emotional toll that people have experienced but still come to work every day. Including yourself, Tory, being an ER nurse. Thank you to everyone, seriously.
Thank you.
Last but not least, I wanted to make mention of just the final thing that we wanted to make mention of, is that the future of the ParaUnity, your connections. Anybody who knows me knows that I am a huge Nintendo fan.
Oh, really? Sorry, keep going.
That's should show you what should show you what she gave me, since you know her birthday's tomorrow.
Whose is?
Kate's.
Happy
Kate,
birthday.
Thank you.
hers tomorrow, and then we've got Tory, and this she gave me this. Katie gave me this, which is a fossilized dinosaur poop.
So I went
I love
to
it.
a diamond mine yesterday with a couple friends, and we
Diamonds.
mined diamonds, we mined quartz, we did all this really fun stuff. And I go into the gift shop to buy a couple of little things, and this was sitting here. And immediately I was like, I have to get it. My birthday gift to John is dinosaur poop. Like, it just couldn't pass it up.
That's fantastic.
For every penny.
So anybody who's familiar with Nintendo, there was a thing that their ex-president, who unfortunately passed away several years ago, Satoru Iwata, did, which was called the Nintendo Directs. And essentially that's what your connection was meant to be. It first started off as a radio podcast, back in the early days of UNI research, back towards 2011, 2012. We stopped for a while, and then we did this instead, more of a news broadcast, but we also want to do videos that are similar to the Nintendo Directs, where we have other team announcements, because Nintendo Directs, they don't just do their own games. They bring in second-party, third-party games, indie developers, and they put it all into one presentation of these people they talk about the development, they show trailers of their upcoming games. We want to try to do a similar thing where we can mash a bunch of things together with a bunch of different teams who may have trailers for a documentary or banners for their event or something they want to talk about, a piece of equipment that they're developing, and bring it all together and show what everybody's doing, and especially projects that involve more than one team, showing that unity, that the field can really work together, regardless of anybody's background. Bringing diverse people together is just absolutely amazing. Other than that, we've got more on the way. We got, during our next year connection, we're going to have Jeremy York on in regards to the whistle experiment. It's going to be a special report on that. Tori, Kate, Robin, did you guys have anything else before we conclude?
I do, actually. When are you going to release this episode? What day?
Oh, for the Jeremy York one?
This one.
Oh, this one? This one, it's actually going to be launched later today.
Fantastic.
We're going to have it on our Paranormal Puzzle YouTube page, but of course, naturally, it will be posted on Paranormal Puzzle by UNI Research on the Facebook page, as well as personal pages, and anyone else who shares from there.
Well, let me look at something real quick. Okay, so since I'm a big fan of Paranormal Unity, right? Mm-hmm. I love it when people watch other people's things. So I'm going to make a venue announcement on your show.
Sweet.
Okay. So in order for them to know what the venue is, they're going to have to watch this show. So, and since they don't know where it is, they'll have to watch the whole thing, right? So I would like to announce the Vail Mansion in Independence, Missouri is going to be participating in the Paranormal Relief Project May 1st of 2021.
That's awesome.
Awesome. Nice.
So there we have it.
One major site after another, just constantly.
Keep adding.
Yeah.
We have, let's see, if I have like little posters on my phone. I was kind of looking through them. I can tell you which ones that a rough estimate of what we've announced so far. We have the Harris Kearney House in Kansas City, Missouri. We have Hinsdale House in Hinsdale, New York. We have Wildwood Sanitarium, and we have the USS Salem in Quincy, Massachusetts. We have McIntyre Villa in Atchison, Kansas. We have Wilson's Castle in Proctor, Vermont. And we have Malvern Manor in Malvern, Iowa. The Samuel Miller Mansion in Columbia, Pennsylvania. We have the Monroe House in Hartford City, Indiana. We just announced Pennhurst on our last Booze and Booze show. Crown Point Jail, and I can't remember where that is. I think it's in Illinois. Jeremy York's team is going to be doing that one.
Nice.
Let's see. There was another one. Matt made the announcement, and I can't remember. It's one of the posters I hadn't made yet. I can't remember what it is, but I'll have to go back and look, and I'll make those posters soon. But I absolutely wanted to announce the Vail Mansion is participating. So.
Awesome. Thank you. And I mean,
you're welcome.
Yeah, this just keeps growing. I think you're trying to even go outside of the country too, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I am. I'm trying very, very hard to get venues in the UK. We have a couple of groups that are scouting locations. Unfortunately for the UK, they are not open yet, or at least last I checked, they are not open yet. A lot of their things are still closed. So any emails and messages that we've sent out, we haven't gotten a response to because they're just simply not open. So we have a team in New Zealand that is looking for a location, and I've been trying to reach out to Australia as well.
Nice.
I'm going to try to reach out to South America and see if we can get a South American venue somewhere. The only complicated thing about that would be it would be in Spanish, but there's a lot of bilingual people and there's a lot of Spanish speaking people that would probably love to watch it. So we're kind of setting out the feelers there, and we'll see what happens.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Tori, for joining us. As always, we ask that everybody take care of themselves, look out for each other, and we'll see you on the next episode. Thank you so much, everyone.